All right. Hello and welcome everyone to The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. This is a group sacred circle. This is my book that I've had for quite some time. I've done The Artist Way probably 4 times, 2 times really well, 2 times kind of a little bit here and there, Mod Podgish. But I'm committing to do it all the way this time again with this group. I've always found The Artist Way to be incredibly healing for me personally. I am an artist. I got my bachelor's degree in theater and scenic design, and I love arts and costumes. And for me, it's just an expression and extension of myself. And the artist way came to me when I was younger. I've done it at different phases in my life, so I'm excited to do it again at this phase in my life. Um, the Artist Way is a 12-week journey. So everyone that's here both live and on the replay, this is a sacred circle. So we are creating a safe space, a together space, a healing space. And this is a journey. And I know that the number of times that I've done this, every time's been different. Different things have come up, different lessons, different shadows. So we're here to support each other. This is not a coaching platform. This is going to be a collaboration, a community. If something happens and you do get triggered and you want to reach out to me personally for some feedback or one-on-one coaching, I'd be honored to do that. Also, if you feel triggered and you need to seek a professional, please do, because there's a lot of stuff that can come up when we're dealing with our inner child and our inner artist. This is really sacred womb work that we're doing right now. So be gentle with yourself and take time with yourself. Now I did create a little slideshow because Canva is fun and we can do that. Um, let's see, can I make this bigger? Share. Share, present. Can you see it better now? Okay. So this is the week 1. Now, if you haven't read the week 1, don't worry, stay here. This is a journey. We could all be at different places. Some people might come in at different times. That's perfectly okay. But this is the sacred and safe space for us to come together and to talk about what happened and our feedback during the experience. For those of you that don't know what the Artist Way, or you're really new to it, or your book hasn't come to you, it's a 12-week program that has different lessons by Julia Cameron about how to really get in touch with your inner artist. And I find it to be incredibly healing. I did mention this before, but this is a very sacred, safe space. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that you're safe here. If you tend to be more of a talker, maybe I encourage you to speak up and listen a little bit more. If you're a little more quiet, maybe this is a great platform for you to talk and share and practice speaking more in a safe space. Keep it uplifting if you're going to talk. We're going to try to keep the circle going so everyone can feel shared and heard. And please reach out to each other. We can stay in touch. I was actually thinking about maybe doing a Facebook group or something along those lines so we can stay in touch. Today, we're going to basically go over the basic principles and week 1 of The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. So if you don't have the book, then that's perfectly fine. You'll kind of get a scoop of it here, but I definitely recommend reading it because Julia talks about her personal experience as an artist, and there's just so many good little nuggets and tidbits of wisdom. So really go through and read that. I highlight it, I write in my book. For me, that makes me feel more connected to it. Technically, you can buy workbooks and other things that are on the market. I've never really needed to do that, but whatever makes you feel more comfortable. Um, In terms of a sacred circle, Julia Cameron actually has these sacred circle rules in her book. She talks about wanting to make sure that this is a free program for everyone, so it's accessible to everyone. She talks about making sure that it is a safe space. And these are the rules she put in, which I think are lovely. She talks about creativity flourishes in a place of safety and acceptance. So that's really our first goal and aim for this, is to create that with each other. She talks about how creativity grows among friends, and that's what we'll be with each other. We're going to support each other where, maybe someone else didn't, or maybe someone gave us critical thinking. We'll support each other and we'll be those cheerleaders for each other during this 12-week journey. Um, all creative ideas are children who deserve our protection. And I have a wonderful book called The Muse, which I'm going to send to you as well, which is really about that idea of how every idea is like an inspiration from source. So I'll share that with you guys if you want some extra reading too. Um, Everything that happens in this circle online stays in here. So whether you're here now or you're in the replay, this has to stay in this space. So just remember, if it's someone else's story, it's not yours to share. But when we're here together, we can support each other and share with each other. We are going to give creative feedback to each other. We're going to support each other. We're going to bring on our strengths. We're going to focus on our strengths and not on our weaknesses. And we are going to help each other so that way we can find our blocks and release them and then become even better versions of ourselves. So, and that's how I found the artist way to be for myself. If you haven't read the basic principles, the basic tools for the 12-week program, morning pages, um, they're hard. Has anybody else had a hard time with those? I've done this a number of times, and I feel like the morning pages for me are always the most challenging because I have a very busy life and my routine is kind of set in stone, and changing my routine has been difficult. So do the best you can. And I say this in all of my programs. If you work with me, my number one rule is it's never about perfection. It's about intention. So do the best you can. But I will say I've done this, like I said, 4 times. 2 times I really committed and 2 times I didn't commit as well. And when I really commit and I do the morning page to the best of my ability, I always walk away with a lot more wisdom and a lot more um, inner sight into my own life and my own journey. So I really recommend trying it as best as you're able. She teaches us the basic principles about being an artist and being in this journey, that there is an underlying, indwelling creative force infusing through all of us. And I love that idea. You'll read all of these principles in her first, in her book. I write these down and I have them listed in my kind of sacred space where I do a lot of my work. So I would really recommend reminding yourself daily that it's safe to open up ourselves to greater creativity, that our dreams come from source, and that as we open ourselves to exploring creativity, we open ourselves to source. And so she does mention too, she calls God good orderly direction, because I know not everybody is comfortable dealing with um God and saying God. And I'm very spiritual. God, source, it's second nature for me. But if when I say God, or when Julia mentions it in the book, if that's a trigger for you, um, she said you can call it in your mind's eye good orderly direction. It's really just about that flow of putting yourself in the right place. And I think that that's a really good insight for all of us, even, you know, even the most spiritual of us, I consider myself incredibly spiritual. I struggle with God too. I mean, that's part of the journey, is having that dialogue of, who am I? Where am I? What's happening? You know, what does this mean? And so good orderly direction is just a good reminder that it's one step at a time. It's putting ourselves in the right place and going where we want to. Um, Now the rules of the road, she has this in her book too. And again, I have these, I love everything she puts in her book. For me, they're like, you know, sticky notes in my bathroom, on the fridge, in my journal. I was going to show you guys my journal with all my little notes on it. I put these in there as reminders. So, rules of the road. In order to be an artist, I must show up to the page, use the page to rest, dream, to try. And that's a lot to do with the morning pages. Um, and I love this one too. Fill the well by caring for my artist. And I think that a lot of us in the spiritual community, especially, talk about our inner child. But like the quote from Picasso is that everyone's an artist until they learn to not be an artist. Someone tells them they're not an artist, and that artist self dies. And I think I really see the inner child and the inner artist as part of that journey for me personally. And I think for everyone, because when you can connect back to different phases of your life. Oh, that was my knitting phase. Oh, that was my finger painting phase. You know, those are different aspects of you, and they still exist within you and can be expressed and connected to again in that form of art. I know for me personally, I love all different kinds of arts, and I just love experimenting and learning. So a lot of my life chapters can be connected back to a different craft or art project. Like, oh, that reminds me of my knitting years. If I want to connect back to that part of myself, if I knit again, it brings me back to that part, right? This is a good thing with life in general. Rules of the road: set small and simple, gentle goals. You know, the morning pages is intense. And when I was talking to Michelle before this started, and Michelle was like, "Oh my gosh, it's hard. I was trying to wake up and write." And I'm like, "I know, just do the best you can. Just, show up as much as you can. If your mind is blank, then write, my mind is blank. I have nothing to say. Blah, blah, blah. I'm tired and I don't want to write this. Yada, yada, yada." And just show up. And you'll find that the more you do it, the more you'll write, the more you'll connect, the more that pen and paper will start to flow through you. Um, Pray for guidance, courage, and humility. Yeah, all the time. Um, and this one really hit me when I was writing it again this time. I don't know if it ever hit me the first time I did this, but remember that it's harder and more painful to be a blocked artist than it is to do the work. And I struggle with that. I mean, I am constantly looking at my art being like, it's not good enough, you know? Who Nobody wants to buy this. I'm not an artist. I'm just like, I like to paint. Okay. My daughter, she's a really good artist. I look at her stuff and I'm like, "Ugh." And she wants to paint with me. And I'm like, "No, I'm not good." And now I'm like, no, I'm going to show up because it doesn't matter. It's about the expression of feeling the paint and the paintbrush and being with my daughter and experiencing that. Doesn't matter what it comes out to be. And so that was a really big, like, aha moment for me going back to this time, is that I'm a blocked artist. I call myself an artist. I talk about art all the time, but I'm still very critical of my singing and of my painting and of everything else. And I'm constantly like, nobody will buy my stuff. It's not worth it. I just do it for me, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's because we keep putting the dollar sign in front of the experience. Like, nobody has to buy my art for me to be an artist. It's about me expressing myself. And that was a big aha moment for me, just reconnecting to the artist way and coming back to it this time. Um, be alert always for the presence of God leading and helping. And even just like starting this and kind of setting it out with you guys that we were going to do the artist way. I've had so many things that have popped up. I've found I found an old, I was going through a box of my mom's stuff because she died about a year ago. And I found a short story I wrote when I was like 13, 12, I don't know. and it was really good. And I was so surprised that my mom saved it. And I was like, wow, thank you, Mom. Thank you, God. Thank you for reminding me that I'm a writer, because I never think of myself as a writer. And then there it was. She saved this little thing that I wrote from school, and I'm reading it, and I read it to my daughter, and she's like, that's good. And I'm like, yeah. It was. So God is, leading the way for us. There will be things that will be popping up for us through this journey. Um, Number 7, choose companions who encourage me to do the work, not just talk about the work or why I'm not doing it. Whew. A lot of fun. Michelle is one of my best friends, so I'm just going to put that out there. And I talk to Michelle all the time. So Michelle sees my like gangster dark side all the time, where like I'm like an absolute bitch. Like she sees this like this like devil horn side of myself that I try to be like, no, that's not me. But she sees me, right? And she's just like, she keeps encouraging me. She's like, okay, Paige, I hear you now. And she encourages me to like get out of it and get up and keep doing the work. She doesn't like she commiserates a little bit because that's what friends do. But eventually it's about doing the work and being a healer and being an artist. And so we're here to be champions for each other. And we can still show a little bit of our gangster self too if we want to, right? um 8, remember that the great creator loves creativity. And I love that because I'm a channel and I work, as a spiritual healer. And God and the angels, they work in colors, they work in signs, they work in numbers, they work in, they work in a language that's different. And so they work in creativity. So when we start to touch in and tap into our creativity, we really start connecting into God and source. So I love that. And we remember not to judge ourselves. So has everyone here, if you want to just raise your hand, have you made your little contract with yourself? I know that I did. I'm getting some head nods. If you haven't, I would recommend doing that because spirit and angels and just committing to your higher self that like you're really going to do this. I know that the 2 times that I was telling you that I didn't really do this program, I just kind of like was like with some other friends. I didn't actually do the contract. And I will say that I think the big difference is actually committing to yourself and being like, I am going to be doing this. I'm going to sign the contract. Like, here it is. It's proof, it's an ink. It does support you spiritually. So in terms of those of you, I know some of you haven't gotten the book yet, but for those of you that have done it, and feel free to unmute your mic and just like check in. How many of you were able to do the morning pages? Did you have any feedback about that? Michelle's got a hand up. I know she was working on that. I think I did four out of the 7 days. I'm kind of on, I'm trying. One of the days I even did the morning pages later in the afternoon because I couldn't get to the morning pages in the morning. But I'm trying, and I'm trying to find that new morning routine and that morning ritual, which is really hard. I realized the other day how much of my routine is like coffee, tea related, because I kind of went off of coffee and then I was doing tea and then it became really like tea focused and really hot, and then I've gone to smoothies. So then it's like that first drink in the morning. And I've really been trying to be like, before the drink, sit down and do the morning pages. And uh
I did about 5 pages.
you did about 5 pages. Good,
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
good.
So
It's hard to do. It's hard to sit down there and kind of connect in. I have some new people coming in. Hello, we're just kind of checking in. You're coming in at a perfect time. We're checking in about the artist way. I did kind of give a background about the earlier aspects, so you can watch that on the replay later. Or if you've read the book, then you're caught up to speed. But yeah, I struggle with the morning pages. I find it really, really hard. But when I do it, when I was doing it today, something came up that was it was an idea that I hadn't thought of, and I was like, I think it was like something along the lines of like, why am I so afraid to be successful? Like it just kind of like flew out of my hand, and I was like, ooh, snap, why am I so afraid to be successful? And so I feel like as you're flowing, as you're writing, you'll get these little kernels of seed, like these little seeds of beauty that you can plant and blossom later in the journey. She does say don't go back over and read them, because that I did that, and then it's not good enough and you want to edit it and you're like, oh, my handwriting is crap. I didn't even spell my this right. I did, don't do that. Just write it and let it go, because you don't want to bring judgment into your work at all. You don't want to bring judgment into your morning pages, and you don't want to bring judgment into your creativity. And if you are the kind of person that is going to want to read it afterwards or edit it or spell check, rip it off. I just use like oh, I didn't bring it with me. Like one of those school binders, the 3-ring binders with the that you rip out like you did in 5th grade. That's the morning pages book that I use, because I can't have it in a pretty journal, because if it's too pretty, then I don't want to write in it if it's not really pretty work, It's like, oh, this journal's so pretty. I can only write poetry and pretty things, and no, I just need to get the words out. So it's nothing fancy. And if you are you the second step where you feel like you're going to go back and reread it, rip them out and put them in a manila envelope for later so you don't even look at them again. Um, did anyone want to share that's online about their morning pages, like struggles or wins or anything along those lines? Michelle, go for it.
Yeah, I think like you say in the beginning, you have to build a habit,
Mhm.
just like anything. Um, and I was trying to convince myself to come up with things to write. But I feel like as I went on, like today, I made myself get up earlier to do it. So I think that's a key. Like she said in there, get up a half hour early. So maybe if you set your alarm, even start out at 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then I kind of felt like I was putting myself down, when you get to that uppy stuff about yourself, and then as I was writing, I noticed that I was actually lifting myself up,
Good.
building myself up again, because I was like, no, I'm not going to stay in this. Because guess what? I want to stay in bed and I want to be depressed, or I want to be, you know,
Hmm.
miserable about my day. No, let's get up. Let's, I am this, all right,
Yep.
So I was able to turn that around, you know.
Yeah.
So I felt confident about that.
All right, I'm gonna celebrate that. That's awesome.
Yay!
Yay.
That was my morning, so it was a really good morning with that. And maybe it's something that you're really going to look forward to getting up and doing,
Yeah.
just to be like empower yourself.
And just to see the growth, it's only like when we talked like a couple days ago, you were really struggling. So by committing it just in like 4 or 5 days, it shows you how much we can blossom in just a short amount of time when we commit to it. And when we, like she says, show up to the page, right?
Yeah,
Like what does she say? Um, I do the quantity of the work, and God takes care of the quality, right? Like that's the whole point of this, is showing up to the page. It's showing up as an artist. It's showing up for ourselves. So that's a huge win.
thank
Uh,
you.
and then I think that brings us to a really nice segue in terms of showing up for ourselves is the artist date, because that's exactly what this whole program is about, showing up for yourself. And I love that she says that it's only for you, because I'm a mom, and I want to, oh, I should take my daughter to the museum, or oh, I should, you know take, go out to with my husband to a movie, and like those are the things you start thinking about in terms of an artist date. But then that's that's not for you, right? That's kind of placating someone else and like helping someone else, and that's wonderful to do. But she's really talking about showing up for yourself, and how it's okay to be alone, and be alone in your creativity and be alone in your connection. And I struggle with that. I mean, even me doing the artist way and facilitating it for this group, one reason why I'm doing it is because I have a hard time showing up for myself doing it on my own. And for me, being in a circle helps me and supports me. Like, I do better in a circle and I do better in this kind of atmosphere. And so the artist date, I know the first time I did this, I loved it so much that for years I have an artist date every month pop up on my calendar. And it's a reminder to do an artist date with myself. And for me, it's small. It's not, I'm not spending $100 on myself and doing something fancy. It's usually like 20 minutes to an hour of just being by myself or writing a poem or, taking a bath for me is a really big date, like I never get to, get everybody out of the way and just take a bath. So that's what I did this week. I have an old house. Oh my God. And I can't take a bath or a shower without turning the heat up. So I literally I was boiling water on my stove and bringing water to my tub and pouring it in until it got hot. And then I put until it was actually a hot water tub, because that's always been my excuse. I don't take a bath because it takes too long and the heat, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, no, Mama wants a bath. I got some electric candles and I had my whole like room set up and it was great. And I was like, why don't I do this more often? Well, it took a long time, number one, but it did feel wonderful. Even if you haven't done an artist date in this platform, does anybody have any examples of ways that you've really just splurged on yourself and really had a moment by yourself to feel really good? To give us all some examples of different ways to treat ourselves and connect in. Just feel free to unmute yourself and go. You don't have to.
Does shopping count?
If you got the money, honey, sure. Did did you buy yourself something pretty?
Went to the dollar store like she suggested in
Okay.
the thing and looked at all the creative stuff. So I was looking at holiday stuff
Nice.
and bought a few things and was creative in my house. That's so
And and when you look at them, you probably feel all like, yeah,
yeah, I do. I was proud of it.
nice.
Anybody else?
I can
Ooh, we got
share.
yay, go.
For me, it's usually going to the beach or like walking alongside the beach or anywhere outside is usually a good place to go.
Yeah, anything near the water just feels so good, doesn't it? Anybody else? Come on.
Hi. For me, it's reading, to be able to just sit quietly and read uninterrupted.
Mm-hmm.
I love, and to have a book, not a Kindle and things like that, just to sit and turn pages and yeah.
Do you have a special book right now that you want to connect into?
Hmm. I tend to read 3 or 4 different books at the same time. So when I'm exhausted with the one story, I go into the other and I have a range of, and that's why I like to just decide which one. Not at the moment, no. I think I'll think of one.
Yeah. And I love reading too. And it's like it takes you on a different journey, right? It's like you're a different person in a different time period. And it's a wonderful way to just kind of escape and be someone else for a little while. And that's one thing I love about it. It does kind of get that creativity and that inspiration back going. So beautiful. And make like a ritual out of it, Mandy, like for your artist date, like I did with the bath, get like a little electric candle and maybe light some incense and really make that book experience be like, this is all about Mandy time. Like you're doing that. So that way it just adds a little bit of a ritual to it, which will be nice. Hey, Tracy, did you want to share? Oh, I put Tracy on the spot. I'm sorry, Tracy. I don't want to scare you. I want everyone to feel safe and good. Anyone else? I think we got the idea. And feel free to reach out, um, you know, if, reach in touch with me or, send pictures. Maybe if I get everybody's email, I can try to, make a little Facebook chat or something like that, though. Doing things like that takes a lot out of me, so we'll see. Um, did you experience any synchronicity this week? And if so, what was it? I shared, for me, it was that story that I found for that when I wrote when I was a little girl that just kind of took me away and really reminded me that I am a writer. And it's like, I've actually self-published my own children's book a while ago. And I always think of myself as not a writer. And I just think my mom and God kind of came in as a reminder that I am a writer. And it was, and it's because I was struggling with the morning pages. I'm not a writer. This isn't my thing, la, la, la. And then that little reminder came in just to remind me like, okay, Paige, show up to the page. You can do this. Anybody else? Okay. So, did anybody have any issues like I know that we had our tasks too. So we're going to talk about that in a sec, but the tasks and the journal prompts can be where the triggerings are found. So in week 1, she talks about the affirmations and kind of replacing that negative thought with the positive thoughts. And I am a huge affirmation girly. I have affirmations in my journals. I have them actually in my calendar through Google Calendar. I have affirmations at different random times that will pop up and, remind me of these affirmations that are important to me. So, there is a pattern to it. At one point I put it on, but I don't remember now. So they always kind of come in as a surprise, which is nice. I want to add some of these, and I love her affirmations. I only wrote some of them because I think we all connect to different ones. But my favorite affirmation is just that I'm allowed to nurture my artist, because I feel like that's really an important aspect of who I am, who I want to be, and who I'm becoming. And just reminding myself, whether it's in this course or this class, or even in my own teachings or my own art, just to nurture myself, because I always put myself on the back burner. And this is just a reminder that being an artist is part of who I am, and it doesn't need to be on the back burner. So that's the one that's the forefront for me personally. And I also love thinking that it's through creativity that we connect through God. Because has anybody here seen the movie Soul, the Disney movie Soul? Okay. If you're into it, I would really recommend that you all watch this movie. I love watching Disney movies for like spiritual messages, and I could go off on like all the different chakras that they're each connected to and the archetypes, because like I love Disney movies. But the Soul movie in particular, I really enjoy because it's talking about how like in life we're so focused on this one little this goal, this drive, and we think it's the only reason why we're here on this earth. But we really find out that the reason why we're here is for the simple aspects of living. And they talk about how artists, whether you're saying lines in a play or you're a basketball player and you like that, it's that in the zone place. And they have a whole space about how in the soul, we go into almost like this special space within the higher realms while we're in the zone, whether we're creating or playing or really focused. It's the muse. But then that muse can also turn into a monster that bogs us down if we start to try to like make it harness it in a way. And I would love you guys all to watch that movie and then talk to me about it, because I absolutely love that movie. And I think there's just so many good jewels in that, especially as an artist, because the whole movie is about an artist trying to find their way. Now the tasks, this is just one of the tasks. I put this one down because this was, I remembered when I first did this, the first time I did this artist way, the time traveling, listing 3 people who were enemies of my creative self and the different practices within it. And I realized that when I did it again, those same 3 came up, and I was like, really? I haven't worked through those yet? Like those, but they were really pivotal. And like as a child, these things really stick to you. And so, your monsters they can be people you absolutely love and adore, but there was a moment when they were your monster and they really took away some of your self-worth. Did anyone do any of the tasks or the journal prompts? Not yet. I'd love to get your feedback on that. I maybe in, next week we can kind of go back and just touch in with how we're doing with everything.
I actually did them today. Sorry.
Ashley, share.
Hi. Um, I really like doing the monster thing,
Mhm.
because I've actually like known some of this existed within me and had happened in my past. But this was like another moment, and it was really cathartic. That's the word I'm going to use, I guess. Yeah. And it helped me just be like, oh my gosh, like it's still there and it's really there, and you really just got to move it on out and let it go. Like, look at what you're doing, look where you're at. Like, so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was the same thing. I was like, still, really? I really gotta let this go. Exactly. Yeah, and it's nice to name them, right? To acknowledge them. That's how I felt too. It was just this kind of gift to be able to be reminded that those things happened and that I could name them and move on from them and make fun of
Yes.
them a little bit.
I did laugh a little bit.
Yeah. Dear editor, my mom was a big jerky pants. She shouldn't have told me that. Like, I love you, mom, but no, you shouldn't have done that. Like, right? Yeah. Mrs. Tracy, my 5th grade chorus teacher. Man, she got an editor's note from me today. I didn't make concert choir, and I should have known. All right. And so the tasks are really important because they're going to really kind of get you out of your shell and keep pushing you forward. The Imaginary Lives was my other favorite one from the tasks for week 1. Because I have so many different lives that I would like to be, and so many different things. Like for me, it was just really fun where you start thinking like, oh, I want to be an archaeologist, and I want to be the funny thing is the children's author came from me doing the artist way many years ago, where I said I wanted to be a children's author. And from this artist way is how I self-published my own book. And I forgot about it, like life gets busy. You don't, and I was like, wow, I did that. So this time I was really thinking, I was like, well, what new thing can I do from this? And, I think I'm going to take an art class, like an actual art class in the area, like with an actual artist, because there's a local place called the Jaffrey Civic Center, and there's a couple other places. So I'm looking into art classes. I'm like, wow, maybe I'm going to take an art class for me and, actually take a real painting class and not just kind of, stare at my daughter's beautiful art and wish I was an artist. I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to do that for me. And so that was kind of inspiring and fun to think like, well, what could I be and what could I do and what could I do right now that would be fun to do? So have a lot of fun with that exercise if you haven't done it already or when you look through it, and just, you know, like she said, if you want to be a cowgirl, what about taking horseback riding license, right? So like whatever it is you want to do, break it down a little bit and just do like a small little aspect of it. And that'll be a fun way to just do something different in our lives. I think that's what kind of keeps us going. Anybody have anything to share? Inspirations? All right. The artist walk. I did take an artist walk. And it was funny because I always take my dog and she heard me say walk and I was like, no, not you. It's just me. I'm going for the walk. And I usually walk with my husband because he likes to walk, or I walk my dog, or I go to the treadmill and then I'm like trying to to lose the weight to blah blah. I'm like, nope, going for a walk just by myself. And it was weird, honestly, to be by myself. It was weird. I'm mom zone. I'm always taking care of other people and doing other things for other people. And I'm a grown woman, but I was like, I feel kind of weird walking around by myself. I felt honestly incredibly awkward. And I was laughing at myself. I'm like, what is wrong with you having a hard time walking by yourself for 20 minutes, right? Like it was, I was being a little bit of a drama queen. And I was realizing that, it's okay for me to be alone. I realized that was the aha moment for me, was that I always think I can't be by myself. I can't do things for myself. I have to be doing things for other people. And it was just like this 20-minute walk by myself where I'm like looking around me like, who's looking at me? What am I doing? I was very self-conscious. I was very aware of it until I realized it was like because I never by myself. I'm at my house sometimes, but usually there's still people in my house. So that was a big moment for me, and I'm going to try to do that more often. Isn't that silly? Being by myself for 20 minutes and Michelle's like, "No, I get it." Like, yeah, uh it was a little bit of an aha moment about how much of my life since I've had kids has become other, like being about other. And now as they're getting older, my daughter's 14, my son will be 12 in a couple days, and it's like, wow, I really need to figure out who I am. And this is a whole new phase for me, figuring out who I am. It's scary actually. Ah. So, take a walk, maybe Julia, go to the water because I know you like to be near the water, but just do it. Have some fun and go for that walk. So before this is we'll meet again next week. We'll all have read week 2. For those of you that were just kind of getting the books or just catching up, we'll just share as we go. I'm going to try to talk less, and I'm going to hope that we can all start supporting and sharing a little bit more. I know it's kind of weird because it's the first week and we're all getting used to it, but I do hope that this can be a place for all of us to feel like we can share and connect and um, just touch base with us as the weeks as we go. And I do, again, want to remind everyone that this is about intention, not about perfection. So let's say it's week 2 and you haven't read week 2. Just show up. It's okay. I want you to be here. I want you to experience this because maybe this is going to be a time where you can't commit to it fully. So you'll show up for the Zooms and then maybe you'll recommit to it later. Or there's a million different paths and a million different ways to do this. And I know that I've done this 4 or 5 times, and each time's been very different. So like show up, be part of the community so we can support each other. If you have friends and you want to bring them on, tell them to get the book and tell them to hop on. This is on my website, so theoretically anyone can hop on and see the Zooms and just, kind of create a community where we can continue to support each other on and even in the replays. And so I am, full disclosure, learning how to run a website and make a website. And even this class, you know, Michelle was helping me earlier trying to get the Zoom links back together. And, you know, it's all kind of new for me. I'm learning it. I'm figuring it out. So reach out if you have any problems. I know Sunyi was like, what's the Zoom link? And so I've had other people do that. So reach out to me. But hopefully we can keep connecting in this 12 space and just have a place for 12 weeks where we can come together. I would like eventually, if anybody else wants to lead a week, that they can kind of lead the week. You know, so we can kind of support each other. And so it's less me talking all the time. But if nobody wants to, I'm a talker, so I don't mind that. But next week, so this week, the first week of week 1 in the Artist Way is recovering a sense of safety. It's kind of it's the basics. It's reminding us of who we are and that we're safe to be an artist, that we're safe to learn. And next week, week 2 is recovering a sense of identity. So we'll move with that, and we'll just keep going. So we'll see you next week. That's what, Thursday, March 13th. For week 2. So we'll meet at 8 o'clock. Like I said, just show up. Even if you haven't read week 2, if you have new friends that want to pop in, please share the word. If you have any feedback for me, please let me know. Before we leave, I just kind of want to take a second, and I'm just going to do a quick little meditation for everyone. So that way we can kind of, you know, the theme is recovering a sense of safety, and this is the Artist Way. So I just want to kind of just do a little bit of a guided meditation, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, and then that way we can leave feeling a little bit more connected and a little bit more safe in our own bodies and in our own artistry. Before I do that, does anyone have anything they'd like to share, or inspirations, or cheerleading, or encouragement, or notes, anything like that? Michelle, go for it.
Oh my gosh, I'm a talker too.
Me too. That's why we're friends.
He's talking about synchronicities on one of the things. So I always pick a card, you know, every morning, like an inspiration affirmation card.
Mm-hmm.
And so this I had picked yesterday, this card, and I'll read it to you. It says,
Yeah.
Today I will express myself. Today I will express my feelings openly and honestly by writing them down and reading them aloud. So I put it back in the deck today. Before I even put it back, I said, I know I'm going to get this card again. And I shuffled my cards. What do you think came out today?
Ah, nice.
Like, it's just the synchronicities. And like, you just sit there and laugh, you know, because you're just like, it just had to happen that way. But that was things on there.
Yeah, Julia was like, wow, I love that. So funny when cards keep popping up. And they do, right? Like the same cards keep coming. You're like, fine, I get the message. This isn't just a random card, right? There's something here for me.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I did that. Oh, I did I call the morning news.
Ooh, morning news. I like that, Michelle.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Wonderful.
Meditation.
Anyone else? Any one of the quiet ones want to share anything? So those of us talkers like Michelle and I don't feel as bad. No, all right.
One other thing, Paige.
Go for it.
So in the first chapter, if you read, you'll read the stories that they were talking about people and you know what was going on with them in their lives. And it said, I just realized I wrote this down. We shortchange I just thought of this. We shortchange ourselves when we allow others to choose a life for us, and then we can't break the mold. Or we shortchange ourselves when we think our dreams and our passions won't support us. So in those little short stories that they said in chapter 1, that's kind of what living our lives through someone else's creativity of what they think that our lives should be.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting when I read those little stories, because we don't always act on our passion and our creativity.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely.
shortchange ourselves. So
And we often connect to people we love through their trauma, right? Instead of and some of the monster voices, right? Instead of their inspirational voice, you know. Um, I was kind of realizing that a lot too, is how I still am kind of connecting to my mom and some of these like, negative things she said to me, and yet she saves a paper that I wrote when I was 13 years old. Like, she had my back, she loved me. And so why is that inner child or that inner artist part of me still so wounded about this one comment that happened so many years ago when there were so many other examples, right? Like, what was it about that one that I had just allowed it to take root within me, and about really releasing that and letting that go? And that's part of the safety. I remember there's a Jim Carrey has this graduation speech. I don't know if you've seen it, where he talks about how his father could have been a brilliant comedian, but instead he became an insurance guy, but then he lost his job. And so Jim Carrey learned that you can fail even at something that you don't want to do. So why not just try to do what you want to do in life? And I heard that this week as a reminder, and I was like, yeah, why is it that, we accept the less than instead of going for the brave and the more than? And so that's part of the safety, right? This first week is about reconnecting to the sense of safety, where that mantra, like you were saying earlier, Michelle, of I am, like, I am safe. I'm safe to be an artist. I'm safe to be here. I'm safe to be alone and take a walk by myself. I'm safe to write my thoughts and feelings without anybody reading it and being insulted or hurt, right? I'm safe to try new things. I'm safe to not be good at this. I'm safe. It's first, the first aspect in everything is reminding ourselves that we're safe in that aspect. Yeah. So, that being said, I just want to thank each and every one of you that are here. For being part of the circle, for sharing with us. Those of you that kept your camera on, thank you, because it does help to actually see someone nodding and talking to me, so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Um, I love The Artist Way. I love this book. I love the fact that we have a circle coming together for this. Um, I am honored to be facilitating this group with all of you. So just thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to your inner artist for stepping up and being a part of this. And to send us all off in a beautiful high vibration state, let's just take a moment and let's close our eyes and just take a moment to breathe in and out, allowing yourself to feel the vibration and the gratitude of the breath moving through you. How amazing it is to be here now, to be in this beautiful body, and to be able to connect and circle with like-minded seekers and souls and artists who are all on this journey of self-discovery and seeking a sense of safety, that we are supporting each other and connecting to one another. And we are creating a ripple effect in our own self. And as we step in to do this work and commit to our own healing journey and our own spiritual path, then we create a ripple effect in our life and in the life of all the people around us. And this ripple effect of self-care is something that will make the world a better place. So just taking a moment to breathe in gratitude and acknowledgement that you are doing the work and stepping up into the light and reconnecting to a part of yourself in this journey, that you're allowing yourself to feel safe. And as you breathe, just take a moment and breathe in, I am safe. And breathe out, I am safe. And continue to take a deep, beautiful, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, allowing yourself to remind yourself that you are safe. And what I like to do when I do meditations at the top of the breath and at the bottom of the breath is just pause and hold your breath. And it's a reminder of how beautiful your breath is, that every breath is a blessing, and that every breath is an inspiration, and that you are an inspiration, that you are a miracle here on earth, that your existence here, that every aspect of you is reciprocated and mirrored in the stars, a million stars sparkling in the sky, and you are of the stars, with the stars. And just allowing yourself to breathe in this now moment. And in that beautiful inky space and the darkness behind your eyes, just allowing yourself to visualize the stars in the sky. And allow each star to be an inspiration for you, an idea, a seed of creativity. And see how vast and beautiful the sky of stars are that around you. Knowing that anytime you look at a star, that you wish on a star, that you connect to a star, that you are connecting into the inner wisdom of the creativity that's all around you. Reminding yourself that God, source, time, beyond is a beautiful, beautiful landscape, a beautiful world of experiences and laughter and love and joy and shadows and darkness, all that make up a beautiful painting of our masterpiece of our life. And as you see the beautiful stars in the sky all around you, allow them to be constellations. See them coming to life as stories. An archer pulling her arrow back and seeking her goal. A lion with courage, walking and looking for loyalty and family and love. A dragon in the sky reminding us that we are more powerful than we ever thought. The scales and the balance of harmony and balance within us. The sky itself is a tapestry of stories and art, and so too are we. So with every breath, breathing in and breathing out, reminding yourself that you are safe to be here now, in this body, on this earth, in this world, with this circle, and you are safe to speak your truth, and you are safe to paint your story, and you are safe to sing your song, and you are safe to walk in that garden, and you are safe to cook that meal, and you are safe to experience life to the fullest harmony of joy and love and grace in all aspects. And with the next deep breath in and out, just allow yourself to feel the gratitude of the now moment within you. Take a moment to find a star in the sky in front of you, behind the darkness of your eyes. Whether you see, know, feel, or imagine the star, simply wish on that star. Make a wish and know that you are worthy of that wish coming true. And know that you are safe to experience it so. And with a beautiful inhalation in through your nose and out through your mouth, remind yourself one more time that you are safe. And allow yourself to wiggle your fingers and your toes and to open your eyes and to feel gratitude in your heart as we close the circle today. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here today, for being part of this circle, for being part of this journey. I'm so honored and happy to be here with you, and I'm so excited for the 12 weeks together. Thank you so much.